Hello, guys. We are live. Thank you once again for joining me. And we are going to be talking about part two of our brain health webinar. Again, this is Michelle Jones. And do please like, subscribe, and share our YouTube webinar today. So, we are going to be talking about brain health. We started this webinar a few weeks back, and this is part two. So I'm really excited to be with you again and helping you understand more about how we can have better brain support. Our brain journey, our webinar today is entitled Sharper Focus, Unlock Sharper Focus, Better Memory, and Clear Energy Naturally. Really exciting, really great topics. And part one was quite huge. So I'm trying to be more mindful of part two. In part one, we explored the foundations of brain health. We looked at how vital hydration is, how remembering that the brain is 75% water is actually really crucial because how good and healthy the water is that you're drinking will actually dictate how well your body is going to be able to support memory, mood, and energy at the cellular level. We also uncovered how nutrition shapes the brain, including the roles of omega 3 fatty acids, vitamins like B, C, D, and E, and antioxidant rich foods such as berries, leafy greens, and nuts. And through all that, it wasn't just talk, it was all the clinical studies that actually explained the importance of all those. These nutrients protect neurons, support emotional balance, and can even slow down brain aging. So, if you have missed part one, make sure that you check out part one in our YouTube channel, Michelle T. Jones, where you're watching this. And finally, we looked at nootropics and supplements, herbs like ginkgo, turmeric, brahmi, gotu kola, and ashwagandha, each with research-backed benefits for memory, focus, and stress resilience. A lot of amazing stuff happened in part one. And part one gave us basically the fuel our brain needs. Today, in part two, we will take it further. We will look at the power of oxygen and fresh air, basic stuff that sometimes we actually, don't realize the importance of. We'll be talking about how cardiovascular exercise actually grows new brain cells and simple brain exercises to keep your mind sharp and adaptable for years to come. Whether you're a busy professional, a parent juggling responsibilities, or someone navigating brain fog or burnout, this session is for you. Also, watch till the end for information on a bonus session we will be having on invisible hazards that affect our brain. Meanwhile, grab your cup of coffee, tea, your healthy drink. Mine is my water, and perhaps grab a pen and paper. Take down notes on the important stuff that you'll be hearing about today, and then sit back and relax while we go through and unlock information on how you can actually get sharper focus, better memory, and clear energy naturally. Also, before I forget, do send out your comments. Hey, Martha, thank you for joining from Indonesia. Wow, it's really early over there. So thank you. Thank you for jumping in. And everyone else that jumps in, please do let me know where you're jumping in from. I'm really excited to also hear your comments about what I'll be presenting here today. So, for those of you that don't know me, before we begin, let me just introduce myself. I am Michelle T. Jones, a naturopath, nutritionist, iridologist, anti-aging practitioner, and wellness coach. For over 17 years, I've been helping people regain their mental clarity and physical vitality through natural science-backed methods. My passion is empowering people with the knowledge and tools to live with energy, focus, and longevity. As a practitioner and also a trailing spouse who's moved every 2 to 3 years to rebuild my practice across different countries and cultures, I've seen firsthand how common brain related issues are worldwide. From foggy thinking, poor concentration, low energy, and restless nights to more complex, challenging and chronic issues like chronic fatigue, mood swings, and even digestive imbalances. So many of these struggles actually trace back to brain health. But I've also witnessed incredible transformations when the brain is adequately supported. So don't get stressed about realizing that your brain needs support. Know that understanding and identifying your weaknesses is actually just the first step to being able to provide your body and in this webinar, your brain, with the tools it needs to actually have clearer thinking, deeper sleep, more resilience, and even improvements in long-term issues like anxiety, burnout, and autoimmune flare-ups. So make sure that you have this in mind. And if you know anyone that's suffering from any of these issues, please do share this YouTube video. And please do like it, subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss out on any succeeding health webinars or couple webinars on business and well-being. Today, I combine natural wellness practices with modern tools. AI automations is something that you'll hear a lot about in my Couple with Michelle videos. I help people not just survive physically, mentally, but also to truly thrive in both their health, business, and life. Brain health is deeply personal to me. It is at the core of our performance, our emotions, and our ability to live fully. That's why I created this series. So please do enjoy the series. Sit back and relax. Make sure you've got your drink and make sure you've shared this with others, because today I will be sharing with you simple, proven strategies to strengthen your brain no matter where you are in your journey. So before we dive in, today our material will take actually, before I go through our material today, let's just go through our last session. Did you make any small changes to support your brain since our last session? For those of you that have been watching. And for those of you who haven't watched, maybe you should go and check it out, because again, amazing tidbits. For those who have watched previously, have you actually started paying closer attention to your water, making sure it's clean, structured, and truly hydrating? Perhaps you've added more brain foods into your meals like colorful berries, leafy greens, healthy fats, or omega-3 rich foods. Or maybe you've experimented with some of the nootropics that I mentioned and herbs that I've mentioned, like ginkgo biloba, turmeric, brahmi, to help boost focus and reduce stress. Remember that even the smallest steps matter. If you make one change, you need to celebrate that, because every choice you make adds up to stronger memory, focus, and more energy. And if you haven't had the chance yet, that's okay too. Think of today as a reset button. Okay. Go back to your notes or rewatch part one when you can. And remember, every new day is another opportunity to bring your brain the support it deserves. The good news is today we're adding the next layer. We'll build on the foundations from part one, which was hydration, nutrition, nootropics, and explore the role today of oxygen, cardiovascular exercises, and brain training exercises. By the end of this session, you'll have an even more complete roadmap to keep your brain strong and resilient. So it's not too late. Again, don't forget to take down notes. Good morning, Connie. Autoimmune also has something to do with brain. That's new for me. Yep. Well, the brain is your central manager, your main manager, your general manager of your whole body. Basically, central nervous system is what it controls, right? So it controls everything, movement. Oops, sorry. Everything in your system. Let me just put my phone on mute. All right. So yes, immune system has got something to do with our brain. The way our body protects itself, the way our body gets rid of illness and fights diseases is all related to how healthy your brain is. Okay? All right. Sorry. Okay, so let's continue. This chart may look familiar. It's the full roadmap map of how we support the brain. I showed you this one in part one because here we explore the first three pillars in detail. So we went through water, but not just any water. We saw that the research showed how hydrogen rich electrolytes reduced water can actively protect neurons, reduce oxidative stress, and improve hydration at the cellular level. We learned that the brain is especially vulnerable to dehydration, and even a 1 or 2% drop in hydration can impair memory and focus. We talked about nutrition. We uncovered how food is more than fuel, it's information for the brain. We also talked about a Harvard study on berries and how berries delay memory decline, and the importance of omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins B, C, D, and E in protecting against shrinkage and cognitive decline. We saw that every meal is an opportunity to build a better brain. Okay, so if you've missed it, really amazing information where we talk about the different foods that you have to add into your diet. We also talked about nootropics and botanicals. We looked at herbs like turmeric, ginkgo biloba, brahmi, gotu kola, ashwagandha. What stood out was their ability not just to support memory and focus, but also to calm stress, protect brain cells from inflammation, and even improve circulation and oxygen delivery to the brain. Those three pillars gave us the fuel and raw materials the brain needs to thrive. But now it's time to focus on the three other pillars: oxygen and fresh air. The breath of life. Your brain depends on it every second. Cardiovascular exercise, movement that stimulates blood flow and literally helps grow new brain cells. Brain exercises. We'll talk about the habits and challenges that keep your brain adaptable, resilient, and sharp at any age. Together, this build on the foundations we already laid in part one and complete the picture of how you can truly support your brain for the long term. Okay, so super, super exciting. Let's begin with oxygen and fresh air. Your brain may only be 2% of your body's weight, but it consumes 20% of your body's oxygen. Can you believe that? Without enough oxygen, neurons struggle, and we feel it as brain fog, fatigue, poor memory, even mood swings. There's a fascinating review published in the Journal of Neurochemistry. It highlighted how consistent oxygen flow is essential for energy production in brain cells. Even mild decreases in oxygen, like spending all day indoors in stale air, can reduce cognitive performance. Remember, when you're indoors, have plants indoors. Make sure that you have your oxygen sources indoors. And as much as possible, open your windows, get out of the house once in a while, get out of the office, and actually breathe in fresh air. On the flip side, exposure to fresh, clean air has been shown to increase alertness, stabilize mood, and improve mental clarity. And that's the reason why you can't just stay indoors. You can't just keep breathing recycled carbon dioxide when you're in an office, right? So, again, plants indoors, really important. Just stepping outside for a few minutes, opening your windows, or practicing deep breathing can boost oxygen delivery to your brain and improve circulation. So add that into your daily routine. While we often think about food and water as the main sources of brain fuel, the sad thing is we actually need to realize just how critical and how important oxygen is. Every breath is an opportunity to nourish your brain. If you're unable to breathe well because of pollution, then think again. You need to actually resolve that, and we will be talking about that today. Let's pause here and take a look at one of the largest and most eye opening studies on indoor air and brain health. This was a year-long study of 302 office workers across 6 different countries: China, India, Mexico, Thailand, the US, and the UK. That's a wide cultural and environmental range, which makes this finding really even more powerful. Over 12 months, participants completed cognitive tests like the Stroop test and additional subtraction tasks, tests that measured things like reaction speed, accuracy, focus, and mental flexibility. And here's what the researchers found: when indoor air had higher levels of fine particulate matter and higher carbon dioxide, in other words, poor ventilation and air pollution, workers consistently showed slower response time and reduced accuracy. The impact wasn't minor either. In fact, it affected 8 out of 10 performance measures they tested. That means slower thinking, more errors, and reduced mental sharpness. So the conclusion was clear: indoor air quality directly impacts how well we think. And the researchers went one step further. They emphasized that air filtration and proper ventilation aren't just health measures, they are public health strategies that can improve productivity and performance in everyday life. Now, if the air we breathe indoors is dulling our brain's ability to process, focus, and respond, then clear air isn't just a nice to have advice. It's not just a nice to have thing, right? It's absolutely essential for cognitive health and mental energy. Here's another fascinating study that brings the message even closer to home. Literally, during COVID-19 pandemic, many were working remotely and people's homes suddenly became offices. But here's the truth. This isn't just about the pandemic. For some of us, myself included, working from home has been the norm for years, even before the pandemic. And for all of you who also spend most of your working hours at home, this study is incredibly relevant. It shows that the very air we breathe in our home environment can either sharpen or dull our ability to think, focus, and perform. In this study, over 200 people working from home across the US were followed for a full year. Their home air quality was monitored in real time, things like carbon dioxide, temperature, humidity. Alongside this, participants regularly completed cognitive tests measuring memory, problem solving, creativity, and attention. The results were eye opening. Elevated carbon dioxide levels, even at relatively low concentrations, were linked to poorer cognition. Thermal discomfort when the home environment was too hot or too cold also reduced problem solving ability and creative thinking. In other words, the simple act of breathing indoor air in a suboptimal environment was enough to dull cognitive speed, memory, and attention. The conclusion? So clear. Indoor air quality directly affects how well we think, plan, and create, even in our own homes. Together with the previous study, this paints a clear picture. Poor indoor air isn't just a respiratory concern like what we've thought a long, long time ago. It actually also slows our brain, it weakens memory and creativity. It also reduces our overall performance. That's why air filtration and clean air aren't luxuries. They're essential for protecting and supporting brain health, especially indoors. Indoor environments where we spend most of our time, whether you're at home, working from home, or in an office. Remember, your offices have air conditioned, recycled air, a small space with so many people breathing around you, not enough plants most of the time to actually give you enough oxygen. So, this applies to those of you that spend a lot of time as well in your offices. So, again, whether you've just recently shifted to remote work or you've been living this lifestyle for years like I have, or if you're working in an office, take this message to heart because the message is the same. Air quality matters deeply for brain health. So what do we do? Drink my healthy water first. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Okay. choosing the right air filter. Now, after looking at those studies, and those are just some of the many studies that are there through the National Institute of Health, through PubMed. You know, you can go to Google Scholar and check all these amazing clinical studies, but all of them will say one thing. Actually, having good filtration inside your homes is essential for better health, better immune system for your brain. Okay. So when we look at air purification, there are so many different systems on the market, but not all of them are created equal, just like your water. Okay. To really understand the options, let's look at how these technologies have evolved over time and also how effective they are for protecting our brain health. Started decades ago, first with ionizers and the electrostatic systems. These sounded exciting at the time. They charged particles so they'd fall out of the air. But the problem is they don't truly clean the air, and many of them produce ozone, which we now know is harmful for our lungs and overall health. Then the second ones were the ozone generators, marketed as powerful disinfectants. The idea was that ozone would kill bacteria and viruses, but the reality is ozone itself is as toxic a pollutant to our bodies. Okay, so agencies like the EPA and the World Health Organization actually advise against using them in homes. So those were quickly ruled out as safe solutions. The technology that most people are familiar with right now is the third option, which is HEPA filter. These became standard in homes after being used by NASA, and they do a great job at trapping particles like dust, pollen, and allergens. If you have asthma or allergies, you've probably seen HEPA recommended. But HEPA filters only trap particles. They don't capture gases, odors, or invisible toxins like VOCs. And that's where the activated carbon filters were introduced. That's our fourth. These activated carbon filters can actually absorb VOCs, odors, and smoke, things that HEPA can't catch. But on their own, carbon filters don't capture dust or microbes, so they're not a complete solution either. Okay? So when you're looking at all these, check out and think about what it is that you have at home. And if you don't have any, listen till the end so that you can actually make a very good decision. Over time, manufacturers began combining these into the next filter. We now have the multi-stage systems where we mix HEPA, carbon, and sometimes UV light. These do cover more pollutants, but the trade-off is cost. They are a more expensive device. Also, you need to constantly replace your filters, and a lot of these are actually environmental wastes. And even then, some toxins still slip through. Now, I have this system. I've loved my HEPA combination filters, and I'm going to show you and explain that to you in the next slide. But there is a sixth. The sixth is the UVC systems. They work by deactivating bacteria and viruses with ultraviolet light. In controlled conditions, they can be useful, but in real world home devices, the exposure time is usually too short to kill everything effectively. Plus, they don't touch particles or gases. Okay, so still, again, not much better than the multi-system. But finally, we actually have the newest generation, which is the photocatalytic filtration. This is different from everything that came before because it doesn't just trap pollutants, it actually breaks them down at a molecular level. Bacteria, viruses, VOCs, and toxins are neutralized and destroyed. That means fresher, cleaner air that truly supports brain health and overall vitality. So as you can see, each system has brought improvements, but also limitations. The journey of the inventions of filtration system has moved from simple particle trapping to a more complete system to finally a technology that can neutralize pollutants altogether. But the good news is we have had technology helping us create fresh air in enclosed spaces like our homes and our office to support our immune system and our brain for the longest time. Because for a long time, studies have shown that we do need that help. And now that we have all this information, we really need to take into account what it is that we need in our homes, in our offices, and even our cars. Okay? Because remember, in your car, you've got trapped air. You have air coming in from outside when your windows are open. And with the older cars that don't have the, I think it's something like recycled air sign, or I don't quite understand what that sign is, but when I turn it on in my car, it actually prevents the air from outside coming in, because you can smell the pollution from outside, right? So you really need to protect yourself in your car as well. Okay, so let me share with you what my family's choice has been ever since we started in this whole journey of air filters. Also, please, in this part, do share with me what you guys are using. Would love to know what you guys have actually started using. If you've ever figured out, not figured out, if you've ever thought of putting air filters in your home, if you've realized the damage of not having air filters. Okay. So, next slide. For over 20 years, our trusted choice has been the Blue Air device. In fact, we have a Blue Air for every home in our house. So for every room in our house, our lounge and all our bedrooms get one Blue Air device each, including my work area. So I've got a Blue Air over there. We started using it back in 2003. And if you have been following me on Facebook, you would have seen me every now and then, especially when I was living in Indonesia, talk about cleaning the Blue Air, importance of Blue Air, importance of keeping your home clean. My Blue Air had the multi-device. It had the HEPA filter because pollution really affected me very badly. I'm very, very sensitive to it. So when we decided in 2003 to actually get it, we decided we didn't want our family suffering from indoor pollutants. We already knew straight away. On top of the outdoor pollution coming in through our windows, we also had, people walking in, people with the dust on their clothes, and I could smell it. It was it was horrible. If you have pets, another thing to take into account, right? Anyway, Blue Air quickly, because of all this, became an integral part of our household routine. And we brought it with us wherever we moved since 2003. And again, it's already 2025. We do have our Blue Airs, and we have added more Blue Airs as the years went by. Every bedroom had its own unit. It gave us peace of mind knowing we were filtering out dust, allergens, and certain pollutants. At the time, it was one of the best systems available. It was a reliable multi-stage filtration system that really served our family well. But here's the thing. As our understanding of air quality and health grew, so did the need to upgrade. We now know that viruses, bacteria, and VOCs, invisible pollutants, play a big role in how illness spreads indoors. It wasn't enough to just trap particles. We needed a system that could actually destroy those pollutants and help protect our health on a deeper level. So that's why since 2024, we've just transitioned to the Kangen Air. Today, we don't just have one or two units in our home. We've placed them strategically where clean air matters most, at our bedside, on our desk. My work desk has its own Kangen Air. You can see it's plugged. I don't know if you can hear. It's actually running right now. So I always have it here in front of me on my desk. We have it in our car. We have it in our bathrooms, in our kitchens. Why the bathroom or the toilets? Because that's where, when someone is sick, for example, and's got diarrhea, you've got all that bacteria that comes out with the stool that actually also molecules or particles of it come out into our air, right? And how do you kill that? That anyone that goes into the toilet just gets exposed into it. Isn't that the reason why, if you're not very careful, the gut issues can actually affect other people in your home as well. So having a photocatalytic device and in the form of my Kangen air in our toilets actually protects everyone who goes into the toilet, right? And it's not, I don't think it's, I think one of the best things that I like about the Kangen air as well, unlike my blue air, which is ginormous, this one is tiny. So it's not going to occupy space in our tiny toilets that we have here in Fiji. Okay. So, because when you think about it, the different places in your house that needs filters would be where you've got a lot of people passing through, where you've got, as I said, in the toilets where you defecate and you've got bacteria coming out, in the toilet bowl, but also like going through your air. You want it in your kitchen where you have gas, where you've got um, oil and splutters and smells that you want to actually get rid of, and you want it in the area in your bedroom. When my husband and I are unwell, some people actually separate bedrooms. And with the Kangen air, I actually just have one Kangen air on his side of the bed and one Kangen air on my side of the bed, because it actually disinfects, kills the bacteria around our areas straight away. So just really amazing and versatile. Okay. So anyway, that's why we upgraded to this system. And that's why I find it, more convenient to use. I find that now I have even more peace of mind. I know that I'm protecting our health, our families, and we're protecting people that come into our home from possible illnesses that is in our home or that is on their clothes from where they came from, right? So it's about making your space at home a safe space, safe, healthy space. Okay. So for us, Kangen air represents the next generation of air purification, not just capturing pollutants, but also uh, neutralizing them, bacteria, viruses, so that they can't harm us. And that's the reason we made that shift and why we share this with you today. But again, full disclosure, we didn't get rid of our blue airs. Our blue airs are still everywhere. Great for bigger spaces, but if you want more intimate spaces where you actually need the support, especially if you have issues with asthma like I do, having the Kangen air right there beside you, it's amazing, amazing fix. All right, now that's all about air filters. Again, share what you're using, share what you've learned about the different types of air filter. And let's go to cardiovascular exercises. Let's talk about what cardiovascular exercise does for your brain and not just your heart. Because a lot of the time when we talk about cardio, people talk about heart and circulation. So, research shows that cardio enhances the volume of the hippocampus. Okay, it enhances the volume in that part of the brain that actually supports learning and memory. It improves attention, executive function, and processing speed. It helps us stay sharper and think more clearly. Regular aerobic activity can even help preserve gray matter and slow cognitive decline as we age. In fact, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention lists physical activity as one of the key strategies for preventing dementia. And what's happening inside the brain? Exercise stimulates important growth factors such as BDNF, or the brain derived neurotrophic factor. This supports brain cell growth and protects neurons. Second, IGF-1, or insulin like growth factor 1, which supports brain protects them, also supports brain cell growth. Okay. Third is VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, which promotes new blood vessel growth, boosting blood and oxygen supply to the brain. So, to build and protect your brain, moving your body is one of the most powerful tools you can have, and the easiest, right? Because we need to move every day anyway. So now let's look at a couple of fascinating studies that actually brings these points to life and shows just how much of a difference exercise makes to your brain. So this powerful study comes from a Swedish study published in 2009 called Cardiovascular Fitness is Associated with Cognition in Youth Adulthood. Researchers followed over 1 million young men and measured their cardiovascular fitness around the age of 18. What they found was amazing. It was so striking. They said that those with higher cardiovascular fitness at 18 scored significantly better on intelligence tests. Things like logic, verbal reasoning, and technical problem solving. Even when they adjusted for factors like family background, socioeconomic status, the results still held true. In fact, better fitness at 18 even predicted higher educational achievements and stronger career outcomes later in life. This shows us that the brain benefits of cardiovascular exercise begins early. Okay? Keeping our children and teenagers active doesn't just support their physical health, which we've always been told. It also lays a powerful foundation for sharper thinking, stronger memory, and long-term success. So keep your kids active. No more just having them in front of the computer. They need to run, they need to walk or power walk. Workouts are amazing. Dancing, swimming, all those are amazing cardiovascular exercises that you can actually get your kids to start doing because it will make them better adults, stronger adults, physically and mentally, and even emotionally. Okay. So how long? So how does exercise actually change the brain? Let's look at the science. This is a study from the University of British Columbia showing that regular aerobic exercise can literally increase the size of the hippocampus, which is essential for memory and learning. So again, hippocampus is mentioned here. And these benefits weren't just for young people. Older adults saw memory improvements too, proving that it's never too late to start. I don't know if you guys have seen all these other YouTube videos or Facebook videos where they show people in their 60s or 70s who just get started into their cardiovascular exercise and they become all lean and strong and healthy. So it's never too late. You just need to have that realization and get started. Okay? Cardiovascular exercise boosts our brain attention. It helps you with executive function in processing information. It helps you become mentally agile across the lifespan. And here's the exciting part. Aerobic movement stimulates the release of powerful growth factors inside the brain. Okay? Remember BDNF that we talked about? The BDNF actually is often called fertilizer for brain cells because it helps neurons grow and form new connections. The IGF-1, this is a key hormone, again mentioned in this study, that supports brain cell growth, repairs, and increases the resilience of your brain. VEGF, again mentioned, stimulates new blood vessel growth and improves circulation and oxygen delivery to brain tissue. Together, these changes drive neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, meaning your brain is literally building new cells and pathways. So that's why moving your body is like hitting the reset button for your brain. It's one of the most effective ways to protect memory, sharpen focus, and maintain long term brain health. So get started. Dieting isn't, diet. I have never believed in just dieting. I've always believed in movement. So just get started. Eat better. I think that's a better way of using the word diet. Have a good diet. Don't think of dieting. Okay? Have a good diet. Choose the foods that you eat and then move. A really great way to actually sharpen your brain, boost your immune system, make your body healthy, help your emotions, because when you're not well fed, your emotions are all over the place. Okay? And when you're not hydrated, your mouth dries up and you get tongue tied. So let me just give myself some water here. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I do would love to see your comments. So let's talk about brain exercises. What brain exercises have you guys been doing or indulging in? We've talked about cardiovascular exercises, but brain exercises are a really great way of improving memory, attention, and even growing new brain cells. In our family, my mom has taught her grandchildren and her children how to play word hurdle, a Wordle. So there's a New York Times Wordle game that you can download. Every day there's a new puzzle to solve. Try that out. You don't need to pay for the app. I actually don't pay. So there's like a Wordle. There's like I forgot what the other one's like. It's like a crossword type thing where you play with different words and you see which ones group together and so on. But check that out. It's Wordle, New York Times Wordle, and it's actually a really good way to actually exercise your brain. And it's a family thing because we share our results with each other. It's a great way to actually start working those muscles in your brain. Let it keep thinking. When you are trying new things and thinking and doing things that you're not usually doing, that actually helps your brain cells work better. Okay? They're like muscles in your body. The more you exercise it, the stronger they get. So we need to challenge it. When we practice new skills, solve problems, or stretch our thinking, you know, trying painting if you've never done painting, trying sewing if you've never done sewing, learning how to dance, all those new things actually help stimulate neuroplasticity. It stimulates the brain's ability to rewire and adapt. And that's really powerful. So that's one of the reasons why brain exercise is important. There's so many ways to actually exercise your brain. When you exercise your brain, when you exercise your brain, it keeps your mind flexible, resilient, better able to handle stress, aging, or even recovery from illness. Let me ask you, have you guys done crossword puzzles perhaps as a child, or perhaps Sudoku, right? Share with me what your yes, I love Sudoku. I used to say, thanks, Martha, again. I used to say that um, when I had my babies, and you get tired of baby talk and just dealing with kids, to actually work my brain, I would have a Sudoku book in the toilet. My toilet breaks were my only breaks from the children. So when I would be in the toilet, I'd actually bring out Sudoku and work on a puzzle, or part of a puzzle, and I keep working on it every time I'm in there. So what is your timeout? What is your brain exercise? So on the next slide, we'll look at some specific brain exercises that you can do to boost your brain health. And you know what? They might actually surprise you. Okay, here are the specific exercises. First, learning something new, whether it's a language, an instrument, a craft, is one of the most powerful ways to stimulate the brain. New skills create new neural connections. Okay, memory, games, and puzzles such as crosswords, Sudoku, chess helps strengthen attention, problem solving skills, and memory recall. Reading, writing, or journaling engages multiple areas of the brain at once, boosting comprehension and creativity and imagination. Okay? Meditation and mindfulness improve focus and emotional regulation, while reducing stress hormones that damage the brain. So, this is one of those things that, you know, we always say when you have a lot of things that you're doing at work, stop, meditate, and focus on something aside from what chaos you have around you. Okay, be mindful that you need to just de-stress and get away from that momentarily to actually be able to cope with it better. Give your give your brain a break. Social interaction, do not underestimate social interaction. Having conversations, debating ideas, and connecting with others keeps the brain active and resilient. Music is also a crucial and helpful thing. Playing an instrument or singing activates multiple brain regions simultaneously, enhancing coordination and memory. So, those of you that love karaoke, go do karaoke even more. Brain training apps, when structured and used consistently, they can give targeted challenges for working memory and processing speed. And finally, creative expression, from painting and dancing to storytelling, all these keeps the brain flexible and engaged. The key idea here is, if it challenges you, it changes you. The exercises are like strength training for your brain. The more variety and novelty, the better. The more different it is from what you normally do, the better. Okay? So start thinking about this. Start incorporating this in your system. I knew you'd say something about that, Connie. Connie loves singing. So, yes, singing is a brain exercise. Awesome. Keep doing it. Okay. Here's a really good study that examines the impact of dance therapy on the brain. A 2023 meta analysis of randomized controlled trials published in BMC Geriatrics pulled together results from multiple studies of older adults with mild cognitive impairment. The findings were very clear. Dance therapy significantly improved global cognition function, as well as more specific skills like memory, attention, execution function, and even language abilities. So, isn't that amazing, right? Additionally, participants reported experiencing a better mood and overall mental health. Again, watching something that you like that's engaging, right? So, why is this important? Dance isn't just a physical exercise. It combines movement, rhythm, memory, and social connection, all of which stimulate different parts of the brain at once. It's a perfect example of a brain exercise that is not only effective but also enjoyable. And the longer the interventions lasted, more than 3 months, the stronger the benefits became. That tells us consistency is key. Keeping at it. You can't just do it once. You have to keep doing it. Okay? When we talk about brain health, we're not just talking about puzzles or apps. Something as joyful as dancing can protect memory, sharpen thinking, and boost emotional well being all at the same time. Okay? Again, sewing, quilting, all that, all of those are included in those amazing things that actually is great for your brain. Now, let's look at another study that shows how everyday mental activities can protect the brain. This is a large longitudinal study in Europe published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience that followed older adults who regularly engaged in what they called cognitively stimulating leisure activities, or CSLA. This included things like Sudoku, word games, crosswords, and other puzzles. The researchers found that individuals who frequently engaged in these activities had better memory, stronger numeracy, and greater fluency when retested 2 years later. What's fascinating is that these benefits held true regardless of age or education level. Even people who picked up these activities later in life showed measurable improvements. So, again, it is never too late. Okay? Your brain can benefit at any age. Small, regular challenges really do add up over time. So, pick up a new challenge, whether it's Sudoku, crossword, Scrabble, stimulating hobbies. These activities are more than just entertainment. They actually are great training sessions for your brain, helping you stay sharp, flexible, and engaged. Awesome, right? Okay. So As we close part two, that is it for me for part two. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Throughout this series, we've explored six pillars of brain health: hydration, nutrition, nootropics, oxygen, cardiovascular exercises, and brain training. Each one plays a unique role, from fueling your brain with water and clean air, to nourishing it with the right foods, to challenging it with physical movement and mental stimulation. When we put these pieces together, we create what I call a brain health blueprint. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about creating a lifestyle that actually supports your memory, your focus, your mood, your long term vitality. A healthy brain doesn't just help you think more clearly, it helps you age with energy, independence, and resilience. And that's the ultimate goal. It's not just to live longer, but to live better. It also isn't just about, oh, I they said these things worked for them, so I need to do this. No, find what excites you. If it's dancing, if it's quilting, if it's cross stitching, if it's singing, right? Do it. If it's swimming, diving, snorkeling, do it, right? And get out of your house, get out of your office every now and then and breathe fresh air, because indoor air isn't that great. And if you're going to spend a lot of time indoors, get yourself an amazing filtration system. Okay? Okay, so sneak peek to our next webinar. We are going to be doing this. So today is our first Tuesday. We're doing this on our third Tuesday, and it is about invisible hazards. What is it about invisible hazards, and what will it do to our brain? Oops, sorry. Okay, there you go. I thought you weren't seeing it. So we are going to be talking about these invisible hazards that are actually affecting our brains without us even realizing it. It's about EMFs. This is going to be in our next session, so please don't miss it. I will talk about what this does to you, what the studies have shown, and what you can do to actually protect yourself and your family from all these crazy invisible hazards that have impacted a lot of people with their brain and their immune system. Okay? I hope you guys enjoy that. Please stay connected. Throughout this series, we've explored the six different pillars of brain health. Okay? And I want you guys to please share that. Connect with me. Let me know what you think about it. Go and click this QR code on your phones and check out our sites. I am looking at the bigger picture here. Yes. So on this page, you'll actually see my website. You can download my free ebook and stay connected. I hope you've enjoyed this. I would love to hear your feedback. And Martha, what on earth is EMF? We will talk about that on our next webinar, and that will be on the third Tuesday of this month. And I hope to see you guys there. Please do share with your friends and family, and have a great day. I do have 7 minutes left. Ooh, I finished early. I made sure it wasn't as long as part one. So if you guys have any questions, do please share your questions. Actually, Martha, EMF, electromagnetic frequency. So these are the radio waves and the frequencies that come from not just the electric towers, not just our internet routers, but from light switches, microwaves, from the same stuff that comes out of the X-rays, from our screens, from our tellies. So a lot of these have actually been causing harm in our system, and we'll be talking about that. Again, it will all be backed by clinical studies, because I really want you guys to not just listen and take my word for it. I actually want you guys to see it for yourselves and read it and start, empowering yourself. I want to be able to give you guys the tools so that you can learn how to rebuild your system and create stronger, healthier bodies, brains, and emotional well-being. Okay. Any questions, guys? I am gonna go into YouTube itself. Oops, I just saw it. It clicked. Actually, might interfere with this, and I will not play around with it. Okay. Anyway, guys, if there are no questions right now, do type up your questions when you watch this. If you're watching replay, do put replay on your comments, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you on the third Tuesday, which is actually, let's check it out here. It is on the 16th of September. So, on the 16th of September, watch out. And I am giving you an amazing webinar on these invisible hazards that affect our brain, what you can do about it, how you can protect your family. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.